Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Tato Jayamudiraye. Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttama-shloke Bhaktir-bhavati Naistiki. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnana-anjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri-gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya-manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa-kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna-preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine. नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We are reading from Canto 4, Chapter 12, Dhruva Mahārāja goes back to Godhead. So we are in the section where Narada Muni is glorifying Dhruva pastime in the sacrifice at the Prachetas. And these are the three verses, 41, 42 and 43. So we come to text number 42. This is the second verse of those three verses. यः पञ्चवर्षो गुरुद्वारवाक्षैर्भिन्नेन ज्ञातो हृदयेन दूयता फनं मदादेश करोजितं प्रभुं जिगाय तद्भक्तगुणैः पराजितम्. Translation.
The great sage Narada continued, just see how Dhruva Maharaj, aggrieved at the harsh words of his stepmother, went to the forest at the age of only 5 years and under my direction underwent austerity. Although the Supreme Personality of Godhead is unconquerable, Dhruva Maharaj defeated him with the specific qualifications possessed by the Lord's devotees. Purport. The Supreme Godhead is unconquerable. No one can conquer the Lord. But he voluntarily accepts subordination to the devotional qualities of his devotees. For example, Lord Kṛṣṇa accepted subordination to the control of Mother Yashoda because she was a great devotee. The Lord likes to be under the control of his devotees. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that everyone comes before the Lord and offers him exalted prayers. But the Lord does not feel as pleased when offered such prayers as he does when a devotee, out of pure love, chastises him as a subordinate. The Lord forgets his exalted position and willingly submits to his pure devotee. Dhruva Maharaj conquered the Supreme Lord because at a very tender age, only 5 years old, he underwent all the austerities of devotional service. The devotional service was, of course, executed under the direction of a great sage Narada. This is the first principle of devotional service, Adau Guruvashrayam. In the beginning, one must accept a bona fide spiritual master. And if a devotee follows strictly the direction of the spiritual master, as Dhruva Maharaj followed the instructions of Narada Muni, then it is not difficult for him to achieve the favor of the Lord. The sum total of devotional qualities is development of unalloyed love for Kṛṣṇa. This unalloyed love for Kṛṣṇa can be achieved simply by hearing about Kṛṣṇa. Lord Chaitanya accepted this principle that if one in any position submissively hears the transcendental message spoken by Kṛṣṇa or about Kṛṣṇa, then gradually he develops the quality of unalloyed love. And by that love only he can conquer the unconquerable. The Mayavadi philosophers aspire to become one with the Supreme Lord. But a devotee surpasses that position. Not only does a devotee become one in quality with the Supreme Lord, but he sometimes becomes the father, mother, or master of the Lord. Arjuna also, by his devotional service, made Lord Kṛṣṇa his chariot driver. He ordered the Lord, "Put my chariot here," and the Lord executed his order. These are some examples of how a devotee can acquire the exalted position of conquering the unconquerable. Hare Krishna.
So this is the second verse of the three verses that Narada Muni glorified at the sacrifice of Prachetas. Who are the Prachetas? Prachetas are descendants of Dhruva Mahārāja. So just like we are very always anxious to hear about our ancestors, similarly Prachetas, when sacrifice was going on, Narada Muni in these three verses glorified Dhruva Charitra. So here it says, Yaha, one who Panchavarsha Gurudara Vakshaira, that at the very tender age of 5, he went to the Vanam, Madadesha. And here Narada Muni says, by following my instructions, what did he do? Ajitam Prabhum Parajitam. He conquered the unconquerable Supreme Lord, that is Lord Kṛṣṇa. Dhruva Maharaj defeated him, the Supreme Personality, with the specific qualification possessed by the Lord's devotees. Parajitam. Okay. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains the Lord is known as Ajita, one who is unconquerable. But he voluntarily accepts the subordination to the devotional qualities of his devotees. There is an example of Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, Gopis of Vrindavan, Kaushalya, the pure devotees of the Lord who can actually make Lord as their subordinate. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is a very beautiful verse which says, आत्मा है ते कृष्ण भक्ते बड़ करी माने इहाते बहुत शास्त्र वचन प्रमाणे. That the Supreme Lord considers his devotee greater than himself. In this connection, there are many scriptural injunctions, Bhuta Shastra Vachan. And this is actually performed by Dhruva Maharaj. So, what is the glory of Dhruva? Glory of Dhruva is glory of devotional service. And the first principle of devotional service is Adav Guru Ashrayam, following the instructions of one's bona fide spiritual master in Parampara. So, if a devotee follows the instructions of the bona fide spiritual master, then this is not very difficult. What Dhruva attained is possible for every devotee of the Supreme Lord. Further, Srila Prabhupada explained the sum total of devotional qualities is the development of unalloyed love for the Supreme Lord, Kṛṣṇa Prema. And this is not to be attained from outside, right? This is already there inside. Shraddha Shabde, no, not this one. Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Karila Uday. Nitya Siddha Kṛṣṇa Prema Sadhya Kabhunoy. Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Karila Uday. So that Kṛṣṇa Prema is just dormant in the heart, and by practice of devotional service, just like the walking potency is dormant in the child, but when the child starts walking, he starts walking, and then he starts running, then it starts jumping. Similarly, by the practice of devotional service, we will develop our Kṛṣṇa Prema, currently which is dormant in the heart. And this position is far better than the position of Mayavadi. Mayavadis, they want to become one with the Supreme. Devotee already becomes one with the Supreme by having the same interest as the Supreme Lord. But devotee goes beyond. Devotee can become father of the Lord, real God Father. Devotee can become mother of the Lord. Devotee can become friend of the Lord. And devotee can employ the Lord in his own service, just like Arjuna says, Ratham Sthapaya Mechyuta. That, Lord Kṛṣṇa became the chariot driver of his devotee. And this is the happy relationship between devotee and the Supreme Lord, who is otherwise known as Ajita, one is unconquerable. Text 43. Yakṣatrabandhor bhuvitasyaadhirudham anvarurukshedapi varshapugaihi panchashatavarša yat ahopi alpai prasadvya vaikuntamavapa tatpadam. Translation.
Translation. Dhruva Maharaj attained an exalted position at the age of only 5 or 6 years after undergoing austerity for 6 months. Alas, a great Kshatriya cannot achieve such a position even after undergoing austerities for many, many years. Purport. Dhruva Maharaj is described herein as Kshatra Bandhu, which indicates that he was not fully trained as Kshatriya because he was only 5 years old. He was not a mature Kshatriya. A Kshatriya or Brahmana has to take training. A boy born in the family of Brahmana is not immediately a Brahmana. He has to take up the training and the purificatory process. The great sage Narada Muni was very proud of having a devotee disciple like Dhruva Maharaj. He had many other disciples, but he was very pleased with Dhruva Maharaj because in one lifetime, by dint of his severe penances and austerities, he had achieved Vaikuntha, which was never achieved by any other king's son or Raja Rishi throughout the whole universe. There is the instance of the great King Bharata, who was also a great devotee, but he attained Vaikuntha Loka in 3 lives. In the first life, although he executed austerities in the forest, he became a victim of too much affection for a small deer, and in his next life, he had to take birth as a deer. Although he had a deer's body, he remembered his spiritual position, but he still had to wait until the next life for perfection. In the next life, he took birth as Jada Bharata. Of course, in that life, he was completely freed from all material entanglement, but he attained perfection and was elevated to Vaikuntha Loka. The lesson from the life of Dhruva Maharaj is that if one likes, one can attain Vaikuntha Loka in one life without waiting for many other lives. My Guru Maharaj, Śrīmad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada, used to say that every one of his disciples could attain Vaikuntha Loka in this life without waiting for another life to execute devotional service. One simply has to become as serious and sincere as Dhruva Maharaj. Then it is quite possible to attain Vaikuntha Loka and go back home, back to Godhead in one life. Hare Krishna.
Kshatra Bandhu. Kshatra Bandhu means he's a son of a Kshatriya. He's a Kshatra Bandhu. So, to calling somebody a Bandhu, Dvija Bandhu, Kshatra Bandhu, is actually in a very derogatory way. But here, Narada Muni is using that, calling that, just at the age of 5 and 6, performing austerity only for 6 months, this personality attained the Supreme Lord just in one lifetime. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that Dhruva Maharaj is described here as Kshatra Bandhu. Why? Because he was born in the family of a Kshatriya, but he was not trained as a Kshatriya. Right. So there is a Dvija Bandhu, like Ashwathama. He was trained as a Brahmana, but he had no quality of a Brahmana. Therefore, it's called as a Dvija Bandhu. So simply by the birth, one does not hereditally take the title. He has to qualify himself. Right. And this is what the glory of Chaturvarna system is. Chaturvarne maya srishtam guna karma vibhagashaha. Not that simply I am born in the family of a doctor. No, I am also doctor. I am a small child. Treat me. My parents are great cardiologist and the surgeon. I am a small child. Please treat me as pediatrician. No, you cannot. You have to qualify. Similarly, Dhruva was called Kshatra Bandhu because he was not fully trained. But here Kshatra Bandhu becomes the glory of Dhruva. So it is in a slang, it is just like to say, Bachcha tha wo, just a small kid, baby of 5 years old. Right? 5 years old means senior KG, right? For 6 months, 5-year-old, 6 months attained Dhruva Loka. So this is the potency of devotional service. Narada Muni has many great disciples, but here Prabhupada says that he is especially very happy with Dhruva Maharaj because only in one lifetime, by the dint of his severe penance and austerities, he attained Vaikuntha. There are many great personalities who are fully trained Kshatriya, like like Bharat Maharaj. And this is the Bharat Maharaj story we are going to read in the 5th canto. That this Kshatriya Bharat Maharaj, he took 3 lifetimes, right, to go back home, back to Godhead. The first life, he became a devotee, then somehow he had affection for a deer, he became a deer in the next life, then he became Jada Bharata. Finally, he went back home, back to Godhead. But Prabhupada says here, he had to wait for 3 lives to go to the Vaikuntha. But here, Dhruva Maharaj, right in one lifetime, at the very tender age of 5, Kshatrabandhu, not even trained as a Kshatriya, he went back home, back to Godhead in the very same lifetime. The lesson is that, Prabhupada says, that like Dhruva Maharaj, one can attain Vaikuntha in one lifetime without waiting for many other lives. Srila Prabhupada quotes his spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and he says that without waiting for another life, if one is sincere, every one of his disciples can attain Vaikuntha Loka in this lifetime. What is required is, is to become sincere and serious like Dhruva Maharaj. So Prabhupada used to use this phrase many times. A devotee should be sincere, serious, and without ulterior motives. SSWA, without ulterior motives. Right. Sincere, serious, without ulterior motives. And then one can go back home, back to Vaikuntha. Text 44. Now comes the Falashruti, right from 44 to 52. This is the glory of hearing and studying this beautiful pastime of Maharaj Dhruva. Maitreya uvacha etatti vihitam sarvam yat prishtam aham yatvaya Dhruvasya uddama yashasa charitam sammatam satam. Translation.
The great sage Maitreya continued, My dear Vidura, whatever you have asked from me about the great reputation and character of Dhruva Maharaj, I have explained to you in detail. Great saintly persons and devotees very much like to hear about Dhruva Maharaj. Purport: Śrīmad Bhāgavatam means everything in relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whether we hear the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Lord, or we hear about the character and reputation and activities of his devotees, they are all one and the same. Neophyte devotees simply try to understand the pastimes of the Lord and are not very interested in hearing about the activities of his devotees. But such discrimination should not be indulged in by any real devotees. Sometimes less intelligent men try to hear about the rasa dance of Kṛṣṇa and do not take care to hear about other portions of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, which they completely avoid. There are professional Bhagavat reciters who abruptly go to the Rasa Leela chapters of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, as if other portions of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam were useless. This kind of discrimination and abrupt adoption of the Rasa Leela pastimes of the Lord is not approved by the acharyas. A sincere devotee should read every chapter and every word of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. For the beginning verses describe that it is the ripened fruit of all Vedic literatures. Devotees should not try to avoid even a word of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. The great sage Maitreya therefore affirmed herein that the Bhagavatam is samatam satan, approved by great devotees. Hare Krishna.
Maitreya uvacha. So this is Maitreya Vidura Samvad. Muni Maitreya says, My dear Vidura, you asked for the great reputation and character of Dhruva Maharaj, and I have explained to you in all great details. Sammatam Satam, the great saintly personalities, and this charitam is Uddama Charitam. In Marathi, the word Uddama comes a little negative connotation, but Sanskrit, the word Uddama means very uplifting pastime. Uddama Charitam. Right, very uplifting pastime. So this is not Marathi Uddam, this is Sanskrit Uddam. So Uddama Charitam, very uplifting pastime. And this is Sammatam Satam, approved by great saintly personalities. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam means everything in relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And just like hearing about the Lord is purifying, hearing about the devotees of the Lord is also equally purifying. Neophyte devotees, Prabhupada says, they make a mistake of removing the pastimes of the Lord, pastimes of the devotees, and directly going to pastimes of the Lord. They say, why we'll hear Gajendra, why we'll hear Dhruva, why we have to hear Prahlad? We'll directly hear about Kṛṣṇa. Right? will directly hear about why even other pastimes of Krishna, will directly hear only the rasa dance. And why only the rasa dance? Only the one chapter within the rasa dance. So this kind of a discrimination is not very advised. It's not very good. In fact, during when Srila Prabhupada's time itself, there was a Gopi Bhav club. And these devotees in the Gopi Bhav club, what they were doing is, they were reading these Gopi Bhav activities daily without and discriminating against the other chapters of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. And Prabhupada very heavily spoke about it. This is how the professional Bhagavatam reciters, they want to make the money out of the whole thing. Later it will come in the Falashruti that these pastimes and Bhagavatam, this narration should be explained without taking remuneration. Right, this is very important thing. So everything in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is very important. The whole fruit is a ripened fruit. You just don't say that, there is a, very nice hapus mango is there in front of you. And you don't say that this part of the mango, that part of the mango. Every part of the mango is succulent and juicy. Similarly, a sincere devotee should read every chapter and every word of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Right? One should not discriminate between this pastime and that pastime. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the Supreme Lord himself, right? And Gadadhar Pandit, who is Radharani herself, they used to relish pastimes of Dhruva Charitra and Prahlad Charitra hundreds and thousands of times, crying tears reading these pastimes of Dhruva and Prahlad. So one should not consider oneself that one is not requiring other pastimes, and I will only focus on the rasa dance of the Lord. This is the ripened fruit. Devotees should not try to avoid even a word of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Bhāgavatam is sammatam satam, or approved by great devotees. Everything in Bhāgavatam is important. Not that one doesn't read Gajendra, one doesn't read Dhruva, one doesn't read Dhruva Charitra, Gajendra Charitra. No. Everything in Bhāgavatam is important. As important as the 10th canto of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, as important as the rasa dance of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. So this is what Srila Prabhupada writes here. Every word, every chapter in Bhagavatam is important. Text 45. Dhanyam yashasyam ayushyam punyam swastanayam mahat swargyam drauvyam saumanasya prashamsyam agamarshanam. Translation.
By hearing the narrations of Dhruva Mahārāja, one can fulfill desires for wealth, reputation, and increased duration of life. It is so auspicious that one can even go to the heavenly planet or attain Dhruvaloka, which was achieved by Dhruva Mahārāja, just by hearing about him. The demigods also become pleased because this narration is so glorious and it is so powerful that it can counteract all the results of one's sinful actions. Purport: there are different types of men in this world, not all of them pure devotees. Some are karmis desiring to acquire vast wealth. There are also persons who are only after reputation. Some desire to be elevated to the heavenly planets or to go to Dhruvaloka, and others want to please the demigods to get material profits. Herein it is recommended by Maitreya that every one of them can hear the narration about Dhruva Mahārāja and thus get their desired goal. It is recommended that the devotees, that is akāma, the karmis, sarvakāma, and the jnanis who desire to be liberated, moksha kāma, should all worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead to acquire their desired goals of life. Similarly, if anyone hears about the activities of the Lord's devotees, he can achieve the same result. There is no difference between the activities and the character of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and those of his pure devotees.
Yeah. Dhanyam yashasvam ayushyam punyam swastanayam mahat. One's desire for wealth, fame, ayushya, the prolonged duration of life, punyam, swastanayam, and this is so auspicious that one can go to Swargyam, the heavenly planets, or attain even the Dhruva Loka just by hearing about the Dhruva Charitra. See, Dhruva attained Dhruva Loka at least by doing tapasya. A devotee can attain Dhruva Loka simply glorifying Dhruva Mahārāja and regularly reciting Dhruva Charitra. Demigods are also pleased because it can counteract all the results of one's sinful reaction. Agamarshanam. Aga means papa, marshanam means destroy. So, Punya Shravana Kirtana. Simply by Shravana and Kirtan of this pastime, one can generate huge amount of Punya. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains there are different types of people who are looking for different things. Somebody is looking for wealth, somebody is looking for reputation. Reputation in modern times, you can say social media followers. Okay. One is, if you want to increase your YouTube followers, please read Dhruva Mahārāja Charitra in simple language. So it is recommended for everyone that please hear the pastime of Dhruva Mahārāja Dhruva Charitra. And this is the glory of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Akamo sarva kamo va moksha kamo udaradhi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. There is no difference between the activities and the character of the Supreme Lord and its pure devotees. And what is attained by hearing about the Supreme Lord, exactly same things can be attained by hearing about the pure devotees of the Supreme Lord, just like Dhruva Mahārāja. Text 46. श्रुत्वैतत् श्रद्धया भिक्षणम् अच्युतप्रियचेष्टितम् भवेत् भक्तिर्भगवती ययस्यात् क्लेशसंशयः. Translation.
Anyone who hears the narration of Dhruva Mahārāja and who repeatedly tries with faith and devotion to understand his pure character attains the pure devotional platform.
Sound is missing.
Unable
Yes,
to hear. Okay. Anyone who hears the narration of Dhruva Maharaj and who repeatedly tries with faith and devotion to understand his pure character attains the pure devotional platform and executes pure devotional service. By such activities, one can diminish the threefold miserable conditions of material life. Purport. Here the word Achyuta Priya is very significant. Dhruva Maharaj's character and reputation are great because he is very dear to Achyuta, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Lord are pleasing to hear, hearing about his devotees who are very dear to the Supreme Person is also pleasing and potent. If one simply reads over and over again about Dhruva Maharaj, by hearing and reading this chapter, one can attain the highest perfection of life in any way he desires. Most importantly, he gets the chance to become a great devotee. To become a great devotee means to finish all miserable conditions of materialistic life. Hare Krishna.
So the Falashruti continues here. Here it is, Shrutvaita, one who hearing this, Shraddhaya, which Shraddha? Abhikshnam. Abhikshnam means repeatedly. Right? So this is very important. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Repeatedly, one who hears this beautiful pastime, repeatedly tries with faith and devotion, attains the pure devotional platform and executes pure devotional service. Thus, he can diminish the threefold miseries of the miserable conditions of materialistic life. Klesha Sankshayam. Klesha is the threefold miseries. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada describes that Dhruva Maharaj is Achyuta Priya, very dear to Lord Achyuta. And when we are hearing and reciting the character and the reputation of a great devotee like Dhruva Maharaj, Lord Achyuta also becomes very pleased. So just like Bhagavad Katha is Punya Shravana Kirtana, hearing about Bhagavad Bhakta is also Punya Shravana Kirtana. It is very pleasing to hear, and it is extremely potent. See, sometimes something may be very pleasing to hear, but it may be degrading oneself. Like, Indian cinema, the classic example is that, one may be very pleasing to hear or pleasing to watch, but most of the time the effects are quite degrading. But here the charitra is not only very exciting, but very, very purifying. If one simply reads over and over again this pastime of Dhruva Maharaj, by hearing and reading these chapters, one can attain the highest perfection of life, whatever highest perfection one decides. One says, no, I want to go to Swarga. and I want to enjoy my life, read Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. I want to have great Ayu, great Dhana and everything, read Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. I want to go back home, back to Godhead, akāmo sarva kāmova, whatever the great perfection one decides, one gets the chance to become, ultimately, the most importantly, one gets the chance to become a pure devotee of the Lord and come out of, finish, Prabhupada says, finish all the material conditions of this materialistic life. Yeah, chota sa, one small shloka we'll take. This is the last, small one it is. Text 47. महत्त्वमिच्छतां तीर्थं श्रोतुः शीलादयो गुणाः यत्र तेजत्ततिच्छूनां मानो यत्र मनस्विनाम्. Translation.
Translation. Anyone who hears this narration of Dhruva Mahārāja acquires exalted qualities like him. For anyone who desires greatness, prowess, or influence, here is the process by which to acquire them. And for thoughtful men who want adoration, here is the proper means. Purport. In the material world, everyone is after profit, respectability, and reputation. Everyone wants the supreme exalted position, and everyone wants to hear about the great qualities of exalted person. All ambitions which are desirable for great persons can be fulfilled simply by reading and understanding the narration of Dhruva Mahārāja activities. Hare Krishna.
If one is desiring for exalted qualities, one should hear Dhruva Charitra. Because whatever we hear about, we are going to develop those qualities eventually. So when we hear about Dhruva, one will eventually will have the qualities like Dhruva Maharaj. Anyone who desires greatness, mahattam ichchatam, prowess or influence, one attains the same. And thoughtful men who want adoration, the Prabhuji mani nahi milta. Here it is the remedy. Here is the proper means, Dhruva Charitra. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that people are after puja, labha, pratishtha, profit, adoration, and distinction. And all these can be attained if we hear the transcendental qualities of exalted devotees. Prabhupada says, everyone wants to hear about the great qualities of exalted person. All ambitions which are desirable for great persons can be fulfilled simply by reading and understanding the narration of Dhruva Mahāraja's activities. So we will conclude here and continue tomorrow. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you, Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhupada.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
This is, just a personal this thing. Are you in the faculty of this MIT Alandi?
No, I'm in VIT Pune.
VIT, okay. Just
last-
because I wanted to visit that dome,
Oh, no.
MIT ka dome. Okay. Thank you so much. Sorry.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I have a question.
Yeah, please.
Prabhuji, you said that we should relish all parts of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam while we should not miss. But when we are reading about creation or when we are reading about some prayers like demigod prayers, तो वो इतना थोड़ा सा इतना अच्छा नहीं लगता है जो हम पढ़ते हैं जितना हम कथा में रुचि आता है या लीला में रुचि आता है तो इसके लिए क्या करना चाहिए जैसे वो पंच महाभूत के बारे में और सृष्टि उत्पत्ति के बारे में जब हम पढ़ते हैं तो उतना रुचि नहीं आता जितना इसमें आता है लीला में
So there will be always some favorite pastimes in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. So what is required is one should not eliminate something. One should not eliminate. That is important. Of course, there will be favorite pastimes. If somebody likes, Gajendra pastime, Gajendra Moksha prayers are very, very famous. Somebody like, but one should not discriminate considering that this is very materialistic or this is just talking about. So at least once through when he's reading, one should go through. So it is not to eliminate. When we discussed about that Gopi Bhav club, they were literally considering other devotees as a fallen people who are just, they said that, oh, you are just stuck up in, this Bhagavad Gita. We are already at Bhagavatam. Not only Bhagavatam, we are already at, the rasa dance. So that is the point. Of course, there will be personal favorites within Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Right?
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, but it says that Bhagavatam is sweet from any corner you pick up. Then why can't we relish that sweetness? as all
No, this is because,
devotees.
even ice cream is sweet, but still you have your own favorite ice cream, right?
Yes, yes,
Somebody may
Prabhuji.
like vanilla. So vanilla is like, vanilla is also ice cream, as any other ice cream, but the flavor is vanilla. Somebody may not
Okay.
like vanilla, somebody like mango, and that's perfectly fine. So within Srimad Bhagavatam, we will have our favorites, but one should not eliminate the particular sections of Srimad Bhagavatam.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Harish.
Just a small question. Praji,
Yeah.
who are Prachetas? Like we are, Narada is reached to them.
Prachetas, they are descendants of Dhruva Maharaj. Later they are going to come. Now we are going to see. The very next chapter is descendants of Dhruva Maharaj.
Okay. Okay.
So there we are going to see descendants of Dhruva Maharaj and all great personalities. And one terrible personality also appeared in the Dhruva's line. So all those things we are going to study. And later, there is Pruthu Maharaj. So all these are the coming. Fourth canto is continuation of the descendants of Dhruva Maharaj.
And why any specific reason, Praji, name as Prachetas, or is it just a name only, or does it indicate something?
Previously, to a great extent, names were given with reference to the quality the child had. Okay. So Dhruva means, from the very childhood, he was very determined personality, and that he exhibited at the age of 5. So Parikshit was from the very childhood. Parikshit was always looking for the Supreme Lord because he had seen the Supreme Lord. He was always doing pariksha of the people. Is he supreme? Is he the person I have seen in the womb? Like that. Vidura was from the very childhood. He was Vidura, very learned and very sober. So, but this is this is how the previously names were given. But now we are even more fortunate. We give direct name to the Supreme Lord. Directly we give name to the child, Kṛṣṇa, right? That is even more fortunate because we receive the direct primary names of the Supreme Lord. Our children's names are like Gaurangi, then Apurva, then we have. So these are direct names of the Supreme Lord. Kṛṣṇa, Devarshi, Radha. These. Just look at the names Balaram.
Okay.
So, because the direct names are there, they are even more superior names than giving names from the qualities. And this is all by mercy of Srila Prabhupada, actually. These names have become household things. Like that it is. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhupada.
Thank you,
Prabhuji, one
Prabhuji.
question.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, like in previous times, it was recommended that one should hear Bhagavatam. So when we talk, because it was a Shruti, so when we talk about reading Bhagavatam, so does it has the same effect, or it should be mostly hearing Bhagavatam?
Reading Bhagavatam is hearing Bhagavatam. Because we are not just reading only Bhagavatam text. We are studying Śrīmad Bhagavatam and purports of Srila Prabhupada. So when we are reading purports of Srila Prabhupada, we are hearing directly from Srila Prabhupada. So what we do every day, we frankly hear from Srila Prabhupada, right? So we do both. Reading Śrīmad Bhagavatam, we read Śrīmad Bhagavatam. Hearing Śrīmad Bhagavatam, we are reading the translations and purports of Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada says this, these purports are my devotional ecstasies. And we are hearing Śrīmad Bhagavatam directly from Srila Prabhupada. Right?
So it is same as like I am asking because of like here the discussion is there, but when we are reading personally, so there is a difference between like here when discussion is happening and when we have a personal reading of Bhagavatam. So still it's a hearing only.
Yeah. Personal reading of Śrīmad Bhagavatam is also hearing from Srila Prabhupada. Right.
Okay.
Only thing what happens is that personally when we are reading, one should personally, of course, one should read Śrīmad Bhagavatam personally very well. But this is something like common minimum program we have. At least we come in the association of devotees and hear together, read together, so that So I just asked devotees that how many of you read 2,100 pages in year 2025, and not many raised their hands. Although many of them are like veteran people, they are CAs, they are doctors, they are engineers. They have read huge amounts of books. I know CA people, what kind of books they read: taxes, direct taxes, indirect taxes, GST, and all that. Medicine guys, they read such huge amounts of books. I mean, frightening. The voluminous books they read. But the simple question we asked in a group, that how many of you read 2,100 pages in last 1 year, in your calendar year 2025? Not many have read that. So in the association of devotees, what happens is that ekaki amar nahi paye bale, we get the strength to go together, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
But that is also reading and that is also hearing, no doubt about it. Personal reading is also reading and hearing, very much.
Yes, Prabhuji. I was like, because this one is the best way to everyday do, but is personal reading and hearing, there is a difference because, but yeah, got the answer. Like that is also important, same as hearing.
It is same as hearing.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhuji.